Welcome to the snapshot of the Productivity Project, Accomplishing More by Managing Your Time, Attention, and Energy by Chris Bailey. Here, we'll explore the key insights from the Productivity Project. Introduction. When is the last time you focused on one task for a few hours without picking up your phone or checking social media? If you're like most people, it's probably been a while. Procrastination can be a pleasure, and the addition of constant notifications and social media in our lives turns the dopamine and serotonin centers of your brain into neurological amusement parks. Bright and fun for a time, but eventually exhausting. Overcoming procrastination involves closing down these amusement parks and forcing other parts of your brain to work smarter and more efficiently instead of harder. Author Chris Bailey spent a year experimenting with countless productivity tactics. In his book, he shares all the tips and tricks he learned along the way. In this snapshot, you'll learn some of Bailey's productivity tips to help you accomplish more. Laying the groundwork. Productivity is often thought of as a superpower that, when mastered, will change your entire life. How else can people wake up at 4 a.m. every day or bike 15 miles to work? But the truth is that anyone can become productive, provided they're willing to make considerable lifestyle changes. But before uprooting your morning routine or buying a racing bike, consider why you want to make these changes and how you need to grow in 3 areas of productivity. Time is the most obvious factor. How you manage your time reliably indicates how much you'll accomplish. Attention and your ability to focus will determine how you manage your time. Energy is a key part of motivation. Tracking changes in your energy levels throughout the day will help you assess whether your behavioral changes are working. For all tasks, remember to apply the 80-20 rule. 80% of your productivity comes from 20% of your workload. This 20% is comprised of primary tasks. The rest is made up of less essential work. Also remember the 80-20 rule's companion, the rule of 3, which states that each workday should begin by identifying the 3 most critical tasks to be completed. The rule of 3 is effective because our minds are often compelled to think in sets of 3. When laying the groundwork for your productivity-boosting changes, it's essential to identify your biological prime time, or BPT, the time of day when you have the most energy. If you're a morning person who feels your energy peak earlier in the day, you should reserve mornings for creative, demanding work and leave simpler tasks for the afternoon. If you aren't sure about your BPT, keep a log for a few days that rates your energy levels from 1 to 10 every half hour. Then look back at this log and note which times of day you're the most energetic. Wasting time. You might be relieved to hear that procrastination is human nature. Everybody is guilty of procrastinating to a certain degree, even people who appear productive or successful. These people are tempted to procrastinate just like the rest of us. They simply have better methods of keeping themselves on track. To develop your own techniques for maintaining focus, you must first learn why you procrastinate and how to train your brain to avoid procrastination. Procrastination is the result of 2 parts of your brain dueling with each other. First, there's your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for logical thinking and associating smaller tasks with long-term goals. Then, there's your limbic system, which controls pleasure and other emotions and thrives on getting its way as much as possible. The activities of the prefrontal cortex and limbic system dictate the decisions you make throughout the day. Together, they balance instinct and reason and encourage you to make better choices. The prefrontal cortex often gives in to the limbic system, so you can be happy in the short term. Working to overcome procrastination will strengthen your prefrontal cortex and, by extension, your willpower. There are a few methods you can use to bump your prefrontal cortex to the front of the line and tell your limbic system to wait their turn. Here are a few ideas to do just that. If you must put something off, try to procrastinate productively by making a procrastination list. List high-priority tasks that you look forward to and can chip away at in 15 to 30-minute intervals. List the costs or consequences of putting something off, such as falling behind on a deadline or losing income due to lost productivity. If you find yourself putting off your work, set a timer for 15 minutes just to get you started. Even if you don't want to continue when the timer goes off, you still accomplished 15 minutes of work. But if you end up becoming engaged with the task, you can effectively carry on working. Additionally, remember that it takes more time and energy to stress about or justify procrastination than it does to just get to work. Cozying up to ugly tasks. You're more likely to procrastinate on frustrating or boring tasks, tasks that lack purpose or reward, and unstructured or difficult tasks. Next time you feel compelled to procrastinate on such a task, don't beat yourself up. Instead, think about why you're avoiding the task and see if it can be reframed to seem more interesting or appealing. Wresting control of your limbic system involves identifying the rewards of accomplishing a task or negotiating with the limbic system to make the work a little more attractive. You can accomplish this in the following ways. Change your environment if you're feeling bored or restless. Try leaving the office and working from a cafe. Research and write out the steps to complete a difficult or unstructured task so you can develop a systematic approach. Identify personal meaning or reward to make a task feel more important in the short term. The ubiquity of the internet, a constantly available stimulant for our limbic system, spells out trouble for productivity. While online tools or apps can boost your productivity, they can distract you even more. To prevent distractions from derailing your work, try to disconnect for a span of a few hours, or an entire workday if you're ambitious. This will be nerve-wracking at first, but in the aftermath, you'll be amazed at how much attention you've given your work. In a study conducted by psychologist Tim Pitchell, participants spent around 47% of their time procrastinating on the web, and that's a conservative estimate. Multitasking or utilizing constant breaks to check Twitter is great for the limbic system, but this destroys the potential of the prefrontal cortex. The end of time management. During the Industrial Revolution of the 18th century, when manufacturing processes shifted and factory work became the norm, productivity was easy to measure. If you built or processed a certain number of things per hour, you were working productively. But today, our economy has morphed into a knowledge economy, and many jobs take place in an office or on electronic devices. It's more difficult to regulate your creativity or attention span than it is to meet material, quantifiable demands, which is why time management is so commonly discussed. But despite all this emphasis on time, productivity is more meaningful than time when it comes to making money. Managing time is a futile effort if you're not managing your attention and energy as well. Working more hours rarely leads to more productivity. If you work 90 hours per week, you would only accomplish a tiny bit more than if you worked your regular schedule. Investing more time in your work doesn't mean anything unless you give it the energy and attention it deserves. If you give yourself time constraints, you'll be more motivated to give your work your all. This is why procrastinators work better with deadlines looming. When there's absolutely no choice but to commit to a task, the sense of urgency makes it easier to buckle down and finish. You can use the following tactics to develop time constraints for your work. 1. Spend less time on important tasks. When scheduling large tasks or projects, set less time aside to complete it. This is especially effective if you consider the potential benefits of the extra time, such as the freedom to look for new business or engage in management efforts. 2. Set a limited number of working hours per week. Most people will hit their productivity peak at 35 to 40 hours per week. Anything more won't yield any benefits. Delegate reduced hours to major projects and use the rest of your time to work on other tasks and creative work. To make the most of your reduced hours, try blocking off your biological prime time, BPT, on your calendar and setting reminders prior to the beginning of your BPT. Plan on working on a high-priority task during this time and make the effort to shut down as many distractions as possible. If you don't know where to start, allocate energy to the tasks you want to accomplish that day by rating them from 1 to 10. Tasks that require the most energy should be reserved for your BPT. The Zen of Productivity. The mission is to KonMari your time by getting rid of tasks that no longer spark joy, or tasks that don't provide motivation or productivity. Decluttering your schedule gives you the mental space to focus on things that matter, expand your creativity, and feel engaged in completing your priorities. Scheduling maintenance days, knowing your BPT, and handing the keys to your prefrontal cortex can all help you remove extraneous tasks from your calendar. Most people check their email 30 to 40 times per day, or around every 15 minutes. The task of checking your email has become a problem. While it's necessary to check your email every day, hyper-focusing on your emails derails your precious focus. Switch to only checking email 3 times per day while spending more time on your replies. Only check your email when you have the time and attention to thoroughly answer each actionable message. After all, if something is so important that you're going to do it that many times per day, why treat it like it's mindless? It's impressive and overwhelming when someone can rattle off a lot of information without consulting notes or to-do lists. However, attempting to memorize these details can result in significant mental overload. Externalizing these thoughts or reminders is the best way to take some of the pressure off your brain. Methods for externalizing this information include: try brain dumping. Write down actionable information on paper, including both work tasks and things that need to be accomplished outside of work. Try writing a grocery list over the course of several days instead of trying to remember everything you need immediately before going to the store. Make brain dumping an ongoing system by making notes in your phone or a notepad that you carry with you. Create waiting for lists. This list should include tasks that aren't actionable at the moment but will be in the near future. Such tasks could include making an expected payment, replying to an important email, or receiving packages that are in transit. Make a worry list. Anxiety weighs on your brain, even when you know the source of your anxiety is frivolous. Writing these worries down can clear space in your brain and encourage you to reconcile with these fears head on. While it's crucial to gain and maintain control of your brain, letting your brain relax is a similarly essential component to practicing productive habits. Allow your brain time to wander and enjoy the process. This is one of the brain's natural modes, a freewheeling, relaxed, daydreaming state of mind, like the one many people experience while they're in the shower. The attention muscle. Intentionally daydreaming and allowing your mind to wander are valuable activities. But when it comes time to work, buckling down and committing to your work is imperative. Start keeping track of how often your brain wanders during a 1-hour period of work or while trying to complete a time-sensitive task. If you can't stay on task, you may need a bit more intentionality regarding your work. The way to approach your work with intentionality is through attention, a mental action comprised of the central executive, your thinking and planning faculties, operated by your prefrontal cortex. Focus, your ability to determine which tasks should be prioritized and to commit to this prioritization. Awareness, the capacity to balance environmental stimuli. The key to maintaining attention is eliminating distractions, such as email and phone alerts or notifications that hog your attention. When you experience these interruptions, your brain rapidly processes the distraction and quickly dismisses it. This adversely affects your memory because your brain is too overstimulated to complete the cycle of processing information from stimuli. Try to reduce distractions by leaving your phone face down and disabling desktop alerts. Many of us try to make ourselves look like overachievers by multitasking. There are times when multitasking is appropriate and times when it isn't. Driving and listening to music is fine. Reading a book with the TV on in the background is probably not effective. Nevertheless, you might multitask because it feels like you're getting more done. This is because your brain rewards you when you multitask with a shot of the pleasure chemical dopamine. Multitaskers are not effective at sorting information based on relevance, and they usually don't produce better work. In fact, their work tends to be even worse. If you want to become a champion of productivity, resist the will of your limbic system and learn how to do just one thing at a time. For the ultimate single-tasking challenge, try meditation. Carving out very short periods of time to meditate and focus solely on your breathing and emptying your mind can strengthen the attention muscle. It's unlikely that you'll transition from constantly multitasking to calmly meditating an hour per day overnight. Instead, begin by meditating for 5 to 10 minutes and notice any wandering thoughts during your session. If you start thinking about work or future obligations, gently bring your thoughts back to the moment. Taking productivity to the next level. If you feel good about your overall work routine but want to experiment with methods to improve it even further, try adjusting your diet and exercise. Here are some commonly suggested tools and tricks. Drinking Soylent. This meal replacement drink is said to improve your day's overall efficiency because you get all your nutrients and calories by drinking liquids. However, if you love food, don't try to sacrifice that love in the name of efficiency. If you want to give Soylent a try, substitute just one meal with the shake. Exercise to be productive. The time you spend exercising will almost always pay for itself in increased productivity. Exercise empowers your brain to battle stress and encourages the release of dopamine and endorphins that make you feel good. Exercising more helps you feel more focused, sleep better, and stave off mental fatigue. Get more sleep. Depriving yourself of sleep to work more might help you finish a project, but you'll lose productivity in the long run. For every hour of sleep you lose 2 hours of productivity due to decreased problem-solving capabilities, low mood, and diminished working memory. To get more sleep and improve the quality of your sleep, stop drinking caffeine 8 to 14 hours before bedtime, and put away all devices with screens at least 45 minutes before going to sleep. Conclusion. Working to increase your productivity should not make you miserable. Rather, incorporating at least one of these changes into your routine should help you get more rest, improve your mood, and encourage you to take care of your physical health. Most importantly, you should focus on your happiness and make changes that increase your joy. Happier people tend to be more productive and motivated. Remember to disconnect from hard work every now and again, and to reflect on the happy things in your life that help you keep going. Remember these tips to jumpstart your productivity journey. 1. Think about your daily and weekly goals in sets of 3s, instead of staring at a full page of chores. 2. Find your biological prime time, BPT, the time when you have the most energy to dedicate to tasks that require considerable focus. 3. Make a habit of creating written lists of tasks, action items you're waiting on, and even things you're worrying about to declutter your brain. 4. Focus on engaging your prefrontal cortex instead of giving control to your limbic system by procrastinating. 5. Stop multitasking and limit your use of electronic devices, especially during your BPT. 6. Practice letting your mind wander and prioritize giving yourself more time to daydream. 7. Try to slowly tweak your diet, exercise, and sleep schedule to see what makes you feel best and perform at an optimal level. About Chris Bailey. Chris Bailey spent a year experimenting with as many productivity tricks and tools as he could, and he documented it all on his blog, A Year of Productivity. Since then, Bailey has written hundreds of articles about productivity and given a number of talks, including one for TEDx Talks. Bailey is a graduate of Carleton University. Thank you for listening to the Snapshot of the Productivity Project by Chris Bailey. If you liked what you heard, then make sure to explore the rest of our Snapshot library to continue gaining key insights from nonfiction books in a matter of minutes.
Thank you for listening to our quick learning audiobook review series. If you liked what you heard, then check out our channel for more free audiobook reviews. We post new audiobooks every week. And don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell to be first to hear of our latest reviews.